She said she was working late. I found her on her knees in his garage, no guilt, no shame, like I was the intruder. That cheating liar just looked at me. I didn't speak. Didn't blink. But from that second on, everything started unraveling. It started with a scent. Motor oil and cologne. I stepped into our apartment just past midnight, expecting darkness, silence, maybe a half-eaten dinner in the fridge. Instead, the hallway smelled like the inside of someone else's car. Not mine. And definitely not hers. The kind of scent that doesn't belong unless someone brought it home. I walked past the kitchen, noticed her work heels by the door. She always wore flats to commute and changed at the office. But they were here. Which meant she never left for work at all. The clock on the microwave said 12:07. Her phone was on the counter, glowing with a text from someone named G, just a single word, soon. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. Our bedroom light was off. Bed made. Laptop untouched. And her purse was gone. But the charger cable lay coiled on the floor like a shed skin. I stood there for a long minute, hands in my pockets, staring at that empty cord. Some men yell. Some beg. I just went to the garage. Not mine, his. Gregory Foster. The guy she managed accounts for. Technically her client. Realistically. Her alibi. His house was 7 minutes away, tucked behind the auto shop he owned. I knew it because I drove her there once, months ago, when her car had engine trouble. She told me never to come again. I parked across the street. Killed the lights. Waited. 1:22 a.m. His garage light clicked on. I crossed the street without thinking. Didn't sneak. Didn't run. Just moved. The door was cracked. Just enough. I heard her first. Not her voice. Her laugh. That low, warm chuckle she used when she wanted something. It didn't belong to me anymore. When I pushed the door open, it didn't creak. No dramatic sound. Just a shift in air. A reveal. She was kneeling. He was standing. Both half-dressed. She saw me. Froze. Then blinked like she was waking up from a dream. But didn't move. Didn't cover herself. Didn't speak. He swore and backed up, knocking over a box of tools. I didn't look at him. I looked at her. And in that moment, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger who had stolen her face. She opened her mouth. I walked away. No words. No fight. I went home. Locked the door. Sat on the couch until morning. Then I started planning. Her name is Lydia. We've been married for 6 years. No kids. Thank God. She works in property management, which is how she met Greg. I'm an industrial systems engineer. Boring title, solid pay. I design logistics for factory operations. Clean numbers, no drama. At least until now. Lydia always said I was too calm. That she never knew what I was really thinking. Funny. Turns out she wasn't either. 3 weeks before the garage, she started working late. Said a big client was launching new properties and needed nightly reports. I didn't ask questions. I trusted her. Or maybe I didn't want to know. But now I did. And what I knew, what I saw, was enough. She wasn't going to stop. Not unless someone made her. Not unless the lie hurt more than the truth. The next morning, she came home like it was any other Friday. Hair slightly damp. Lipstick clean. Carrying a paper bag with 2 blueberry muffins and a cappuccino, just the way I like it. The kind of peace offering a child gives when they know they've broken something but hope you haven't noticed yet. She walked into the kitchen, saw me at the table, and smiled like we weren't both pretending. Rough night, she asked, slipping her coat off. You weren't in bed when I got in. I looked at her hands. No tremble. No hesitation. She'd gotten good at this. I fell asleep on the couch, I said. She nodded. Put my coffee down. Sat across from me. Her eyes scanned my face like she was reading a report. I gave her nothing. I'm slammed today, she said. Greg's got me juggling 3 properties. I'll probably be late again. I nodded back. Sipped the cappuccino. It tasted like cardboard. That weekend, I watched her closely. Not in the way I used to, back when she meant everything. No. I watched like you watch a spider in your house. You don't want to kill it. Not yet. You want to see where it goes. What it's hiding. Saturday night, she got a text and tilted her phone just out of my line of sight. I noticed her thumb. How fast she typed. How quickly she locked the screen. She caught me watching and smiled. Carol wants to go dress shopping next weekend, she said. For her brother's wedding. You okay if I go? I kept my voice even. Sure. Another lie. Another carefully placed stepping stone in a story she thought she controlled. Sunday morning, I checked our shared laptop. She rarely used it, everything was on her phone, but the browser history still told me what I needed. Search terms, best phones for privacy. Private message apps not traceable. How to delete location permanently. She wasn't sloppy. She was smart. But smart people get arrogant. Monday, I left work early. Sat in the parking lot of Gregory's auto shop in the rental I picked up that morning. Black Ford. No tags linked to me. She arrived at 5:17. Not in her work clothes. In jeans. Boots. A leather jacket I hadn't seen before. She didn't park in front. She drove around back. Disappeared into the rear bay doors like she had a key. I didn't follow. Not that day. I just took pictures. Timed her. Noted the way he came out 20 minutes later, shirt half-tucked, wiping grease off his hands, and looked both ways before going back inside. They weren't being reckless. They were being practiced. That night, Lydia curled up next to me in bed and placed her head on my chest like nothing was wrong. I love you, she said quietly. It wasn't the words that chilled me. It was how easily she said them. How empty they felt. I stared at the ceiling for 2 hours after she fell asleep. And then I started writing everything down. Every time. Every detail. Because if she was going to lie like a pro, then I'd make sure the truth cut like a blade. By midweek, she was humming again. Little melodies in the morning, usually when she made coffee. Lydia only hummed when she felt safe. In control. It was the same tune she used to sing when she packed for our weekend getaways. Now it was a war drum in a quiet kitchen. Thursday morning, I stood behind her as she poured milk into her thermos. She didn't flinch, but I could feel her registering my presence. Did you hear back from that recruiter? She asked. You said they were looking for engineers in Chicago. I hadn't mentioned that in over a month. They went with someone else, I said. She nodded slowly. That's too bad. I just thought, you've seemed restless. There it was. Not guilt. Not confession. Just the soft probe, a test to see if I'd show my cards. I'm fine here, I said. Right. She clicked the lid on her thermos and turned. Well, I'm off to Greg's again. One of the new buildings failed inspection. Can you believe that? She smiled. Too wide. Like she practiced it in the mirror. I didn't smile back. At work, I couldn't focus. Every time my phone buzzed, I thought of hers lighting up. Every time someone said, client meeting, my stomach clenched. Lydia used to send me photos from her lunch breaks. Dishes she liked. Rooftop views. It had been a month since the last one. That night, I found it in my archived messages. Wish you were here. Attached was a photo of a charcuterie board. I zoomed in. Reflected in the wine glass across from her was a forearm. A watch. Not mine. She'd sent that from a date with him. Friday evening, she suggested we order Thai and watch a movie. I agreed. Sat beside her on the couch while she curled her legs under mine like she hadn't betrayed everything we'd built. We watched the screen. But the real show was her hand brushing my thigh. Her glances. Her attempts at normal. She wasn't just lying. She was testing how far the lie could stretch. Saturday, I went to Greg's shop while it was closed. Wore gloves. Walked the alley. No cameras. No neighbors. Found the side fence and climbed over. Left no prints. Just looked. His garage was clean. But too clean. Bleach smelling. Organized like someone was expecting to be investigated. Inside a trash bin I found a receipt. Coffee for 2. 2 muffins. A date 2 weeks back, same morning Lydia told me she skipped breakfast and had no appetite. Little things. Small facts. But small facts, collected, become weight. Sunday night, she cried during a show. A movie death. A dog dying. I don't remember which. She turned into me, sobbing quietly, like she needed comfort. Like she deserved it. I held her. I let her. Because sometimes silence is more terrifying than rage. Next morning, her phone rang while she was in the shower. I saw the name, Carla, work. She'd never mentioned a Carla. I answered. No one spoke on the other end. Just breath. Then a click. When Lydia came out, towel in her hair, I held the phone out. Carla called. Said it was urgent. She paused. Just long enough to betray herself. Right, she said. I'll call her back. She never did. I started keeping a second notebook. One I'd never let her see. Not just dates and times. Emotions. Responses. Phrases she used when lying. The way her body turned slightly away when she spoke of Greg. And that night, I wrote something new. She doesn't feel guilty. She feels clever. And that changed everything. The next time she lied, she made it look like concern. It was Tuesday. I'd left the dishwasher open and walked out mid-load, lost in my thoughts. When I came back, she was standing there, arms crossed. You okay? She asked. You've been distracted lately. I nodded. Work's piling up. She stepped closer. Put a hand on my shoulder. You tell me if something was wrong, right? It wasn't a question. It was a challenge. A nudge to return to the role she preferred, predictable, pliable husband. I'd tell you, I said. She smiled. Kissed my cheek. Good. That night, I watched her from the doorway as she got ready for bed. She moisturized in slow circles, humming again. Wore the soft gray tank she knew I liked. Said goodnight and curled her back toward me. Not once did she flinch. Not once did she apologize. She thought the scene was still hers. Wednesday, I asked if she wanted to have dinner at that Italian place near the river. She acted surprised. Grateful. You sure you're not too tired? She asked. I thought you were staying late tonight. I got done early, I said. She agreed, dressed nice, a maroon blouse I hadn't seen since our anniversary. Halfway through the meal, I brought up Greg. Still working with him a lot? I asked. She swallowed slowly. Yeah. He's a mess. Honestly, I can't wait to be off that project. Thought you said he was easy to work with. She paused. Blinked. I did, she asked. I nodded. You did. She looked down at her plate. Well, things change. After dinner, she was warm. Reached for my hand in the car. Played a slow song on her phone. I let her. Because every act now felt like theater. Friday, I planted a small GPS tracker in the lining of her gym bag. She rarely used the gym, but always claimed to go. That night, she went for a long session. Said she'd be back late. I watched the dot travel across town, nowhere near her gym. It stopped at a residential building with no fitness center. Greg's address. She was there for 2 hours. Then back home by 10:30, carrying a smoothie. Leg day, she said with a grimace. Brutal. I nodded. Good for you. She showered. Crawled into bed. Fell asleep within minutes. I sat in the dark, writing. She lies in full sentences now. Pauses like punctuation. Sunday, she planned a brunch with her sister. Said she'd be gone till early afternoon. At 9:12 a.m., I called her sister. Small talk. Casual tone. Then I asked, "How's brunch?" A pause. Then, "What brunch?" I hung up before she could backtrack. She came home at 2:17. Smelled faintly of sandalwood and aftershave. Not mine. Traffic was awful, she said, slipping off her flats. Dana says hi. I stared at her bag. Not the one she left with. New stitching. Slightly larger. Clean. She'd swapped it out during the day. She was managing props now. I took the gym bag upstairs. Pulled out the tracker. Downloaded the logs. 6 unique locations over 3 weeks. 4 of them matched known addresses Greg was connected to. 1 matched a hotel. None matched the gym. That night, I asked her what she wanted for her birthday next month. She tilted her head. You remembered. I never forget, I said. She wrapped her arms around me. Rested her head on my shoulder. You're so good to me, she whispered. And that's when I realized she didn't feel lucky to have me. She felt invincible. I didn't need confirmation. I wanted it. On Tuesday, she left her tablet charging in the kitchen. Normally, she kept everything locked, but that night, for whatever reason, she didn't sign out of her messenger. Maybe she got sloppy. Maybe she still thought I was blind. I opened it and scrolled. There were no saved names. Just initials. G over and over. Messages synced from her phone. Threads that dripped with coded intimacy. G, can't stop thinking about Sunday. L, you're bad for me. I'm addicted. G, then don't detox. I didn't breathe. Just took screenshots. Airdropped them to myself. Saved backups to cloud storage. Redundancy mattered now. Then I clicked into her photos. Hidden album, 27 images. Hotel rooms. Wine glasses. A selfie of her in lingerie I never saw in our home. One taken in the mirror, Greg in the background, buttoning his shirt. They didn't just break vows. They documented it. I didn't confront her. I archived everything and wiped my fingerprints. Let her tablet go back to sleep. The next morning, she kissed me goodbye and told me she loved me. I smiled. I meant none of it. I hired a private investigator the same day. Gave him Greg's full name, business address, photos of Lydia. He didn't ask questions. Just said, you'll have a full file in 10 days. That night, I checked our shared bank account. Traced her card transactions. A pattern emerged, all those late nights were synced with Lyft rides to boutique hotels. And she never paid with her primary card. But she used the joint one for snacks. Drinks. Cover charges. Breadcrumbs, scattered by a fool who thought I wouldn't follow. 3 days later, the PI emailed me a link. Footage. Dates. Receipts. Gregory Foster. Married. 2 kids. Same routine as Lydia, careful by day, careless by night. One clip showed them entering a short-term rental through the side entrance. Smiling. Carrying takeout. Like a real couple. Another showed them leaving. Separate cars. No eye contact. Practiced, efficient. It wasn't just lust. It was a system. Sunday, I visited Greg's wife's boutique. She didn't know me. I acted like a customer. Bought a $20 candle. Watched her interact with someone else's child while Lydia was wrapped around her husband's lies. I didn't feel guilt. I felt alignment. Back home, Lydia was in the kitchen baking banana bread, her guilt recipe. Always used when she thought I was pulling away. She held out a warm slice. Taste this. I used almond this time. I took it. Chewed. It's good, I said. Really good. She looked pleased. Touched my hand. I wondered how many times she'd touched him the same way, then come home to bake like nothing cracked. That night, I laid everything out on the table, not for her, but for me. Screenshots. Transcripts. GPS logs. Receipts. PI photos. All filed, tagged, backed up. And in the center, a draft of the separation agreement. She hadn't seen it yet. She would. I met with the lawyer on a Thursday. Neutral office. Pale wood walls. The kind of place where people sign away their futures in silence. He flipped through the evidence I handed over without blinking. Just nodded occasionally. Took notes. "This is more than enough," he said. "You want full separation or strategic leverage?" I didn't answer immediately. He waited. "Both," I said. "I want her out. And I want him ruined." The lawyer smiled. "We can do that." We drafted a full exit plan. Separation of assets. Immediate removal from joint accounts. Legal cease and desist for harassment if she retaliated. He included a non-disclosure clause. Voluntary, but symbolically sharp. "You want to serve her at home?" he asked. "No," I said. "At work." That weekend, I played the part. Grocery run. Folded laundry. Even booked a fake couples massage for the following Friday. She lit up when I showed her the confirmation email. "You're so thoughtful," she said, wrapping her arms around me. I kissed her forehead. Then changed every password we shared. I created an anonymous Gmail. Sent Greg's wife a Dropbox link on Monday morning. Subject line, "Ask him where he was on October 14th. No note. Just the facts. I tracked the link. She opened it within 10 minutes. Greg didn't come to work that day. Lydia never mentioned it. Tuesday, Lydia got a call while we were watching TV. She stepped into the hallway. Her voice was low, muffled. I turned the volume down and listened. "I don't know, just deny it. She can't prove anything." My name wasn't mentioned. But I didn't need to hear it. She returned 5 minutes later. Sat beside me. Tried to lace her fingers with mine. I didn't move. She looked over. "Everything okay?" she asked. I nodded. "Tired." She watched me for a beat too long. Wednesday night, I asked her if she still wanted the massage. She perked up. "Of course. You." "Absolutely." She smiled. Kissed me. "You've been different lately," she said. "In a good way." I said nothing. She didn't know calm can be a warning. That same night, Greg's wife updated her boutique's Instagram bio. "Clean slates only." Lydia liked the post. Didn't realize the irony. Friday morning, I dressed for the day like it was any other. She wore that navy dress she saves for client-facing days. Curled her hair. Left a little earlier than usual. The courier left my building 20 minutes later. He had 2 delivery packets. One to her office. One to Greg's shop. Inside, the same evidence. Different covers. Hers had divorce paperwork. His had a notarized statement requesting cooperation with proceedings, or risk legal action. Both had photos. Both had timestamps. Both had no signature. Just silence. I didn't go to work that day. I went to a coffee shop 3 blocks from her office and waited. At 11:41 a.m., I saw her exit. Fast walk. Phone pressed to her ear. Face flushed. She crossed the street. Looked both ways like someone being followed. I finished my drink. Went home. She didn't come back that night. She walked in the next morning like she hadn't disappeared. Hair tied back. Sunglasses on indoors. The kind of look people wear when they don't want their face remembered. I was in the kitchen, slicing apples. She stopped at the doorway and watched me for a moment, like she didn't recognize the shape of the men she married. "You had no right," she said. I didn't look up. "To what?" "You know what." Now I looked. Her arms were crossed. Defensive. but shaking. Not from anger. From exposure. Greg's wife, she snapped. Really? I wiped the blade. Set it down. She deserved to know. She stepped forward. You humiliated me. No, I said. You did that to yourself. She followed me through the house like a ghost looking for an exit. Words tripped over themselves. You could have talked to me. I did. When? When did you ever tell me you were upset? When you stopped listening. That stopped her. For 1 second, she looked like the woman I used to know. Then it passed. Replaced by something harder. So what now? She asked. You think you've won? No. I think I'm finished. She packed a bag that afternoon. Not all at once. Just the essentials. Documents. Toiletries. A few dresses. She didn't cry. She tried once, stood near the doorway with that damp glisten in her eyes, waiting for me to crack. I didn't. When she realized I wouldn't give her a scene, she left. But that wasn't the end. Greg's business partner, a man named Ellis, contacted me through LinkedIn. Said he saw the evidence. Said Greg had been dipping into petty cash to fund his affair trips. Said it wasn't the first time. I forwarded him the receipts. The time logs. The Airbnb invoices. 3 days later, Greg's name disappeared from the shop's website. Lydia sent me an email the following week. Just 5 lines. I'm sorry. I was lost. You were distant. It doesn't excuse it, but I wish you'd fought for me. I wish you'd yelled. Something. I didn't reply. Silence, after all, was the only language she taught me to trust. I waited exactly 3 weeks. Long enough for her to believe it was over. Long enough for the tension to settle into routine, that gray space where consequences feel like a story already told. Then I printed the photos. Not just the hotel shots. Not just the texts. I included the receipts. The lift logs. A frame by frame from the rental unit security cam, Lydia, arms around Greg, keying in the door code. I printed 1 copy. Then I slid it into a padded envelope with no return address. I mailed it to her parents. They adored me once. Her mother called me the only calm in her storm. Her father shook my hand at our wedding like he was passing her into safe hands. They didn't know the storm never left, it just changed shape. She called the day the envelope landed. I didn't answer. She called again. Then again. By the 4th call, I blocked her number. Later that night, I got a text from her sister. She's with Mom and Dad. It's bad. They saw everything. Dad won't speak to her. I didn't reply. She made that silence. Let her sit in it. The next morning, I showed up to Greg's old shop. The new signage was up. Ellis had rebranded the business under his own name. I dropped off an envelope. Inside was the divorce finalization letter, notarized. Alongside a list of Greg's known personal transactions from the past year, and the number for his wife's attorney. Ellis nodded. Said nothing. That was enough. Lydia emailed me again that night. What do you want from me? I stared at the screen. Then typed 2 words. Nothing left. And pressed send. The next day, I signed the divorce papers. Filed everything under expedited terms. My lawyer arranged for a formal notification to be served at her new job, some mid-tier real estate office. She received them during a team meeting. I know because her coworker posted a group photo on Instagram that morning. Lydia stood smiling in the corner. By afternoon, the post was gone. I never spoke to her again. Not in court. Not through family. Not by accident. I'd made my point. Not with rage. Not with threats. But by holding up a mirror and walking away before she could smash it. The apartment felt bigger without her. Not cleaner. Not quieter. Just wider. Like the walls had been holding their breath for months and finally exhaled. I replaced the couch. Got rid of the bed. Painted the bathroom. Every trace of her, gone in layers. Not because I needed to erase her, but because I wouldn't live inside her echo. People asked questions. Friends. Co-workers. Her sister. I said little. Just enough. We're done. It was time. They nodded. Some already knew. Truth has a way of leaking through silence. A look. A shift. A new calm. Greg never resurfaced. Rumor was, his wife took the kids and moved to Ohio. His shop's Yelp page vanished. His Facebook, deleted. Lydia tried to rebuild. I saw her name on a LinkedIn update, now working at Keller and Finch Realty. Her smile in the profile photo was tight. Professional. Measured. Not the smile she used to give me. Not the one I buried. I didn't date for a while. Didn't need to. I liked the stillness. The order. I liked walking through the apartment without wondering where she was, who she was texting, what lie was softening behind her eyes. The peace was brutal. But honest. 6 months after the divorce, I received a letter. Handwritten. No return address. Just my name, clean and centered. Inside, a single sheet. I was never scared you'd leave. I was scared you'd stay, and stop looking at me the way you used to. Turns out, I broke that too. I'm sorry. L. I folded it once. Dropped it in the trash. No fire. No drama. Just gravity. I walked out onto the balcony. Spring rain misted over the city. I stood there a long time, letting it settle on my skin. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was waiting for something. It was done. It was quiet. And she was nowhere.